Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today, our discussion is about the marriage contract. How do you know that happily ever after is really going to work out? And to discuss this topic with me, I have Dr. Walid from Egypt. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to you. Thank you to you also.
My pleasure. And Dr. Walid, how do we pronounce your last name?
My name is Walid. Last name is El-Manzalawi. It's hard for Americans to pronounce it, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. So you're a human development consultant. Can you tell me a little bit about your work?
My work is mainly interested in people. I work only with people, no machines, no other hard things, just with people. Interested mainly in human communication and human development. Here is Egypt has a lot of population also. It has more than 100 million Egyptian as a population. So people must care about developing others either on career level or personal life level. It's in brief.
Wow. So the discussion is the marriage contract. What should couples do before they get married to make sure that things are going to work out?
They should come to me or visit someone specialized in that who can make a test. It's a kind of test to tell them who are they really are, what is their nature. People are formed mainly from two sectors, one genetic and one environmental. I am Walid, for example. I am a mix from genetic factors, which is my personality, and other environmental factors, which is maybe education, maybe culture, maybe traditions, and so on. So we are a mix. People have to know what should they do when they are going to engage to someone, to engage in a relationship or something like that. So they have to analyze the genetic part and the environmental part, which is affecting personalities and behavior.
So in Egypt, are there still a lot of arranged marriages where this would be really helpful to know if they're going to be a good match? Or do people more or less choose their partners now?
There are two ways to choose partners: either to fall in a love story and they love each other and marry, or maybe they ask families, I want to marry someone, so I ask my friends and my family, and it's not with feelings. It just we call it social marriage, some kind of social marriage without love or emotions. But unfortunately, no one asks about the things I told you about in Egypt. No one is interested to know. Just we love each other, so let's marry. This is what is it going, or how is it going here? So no one is asking a specialist or an expert in that. Are we really suitable to each other? No one can ask. Or maybe very few ratio in the Egyptians are interested in that, because also it's not famous or common here to know that there is someone specialized in this kind.
Wow. So what type of topics would you ask couples about when they're ready to get married, or they're thinking about it, or they're in that I'm in love stage and it's going to be perfect?
It's not just topics. When I'm analyzing personalities, for example, I'm analyzing the basics. So I cannot tell you what I'm searching for. you will not know what I'm searching for. I ask you a lot of questions, has no relation with marriage, has no relation with anything. Maybe I'm asking you about your education. How was you see? How did you see your partners? How did you see your teacher, and so on? I ask you complicated questions, a lot of complicated questions, and I measure a lot of things, including your reactions, including your energy, your passion, your reactions in about my questions, and I have scales. And when I finish asking you, I do the scale and I repeat the results to check the accuracy, and I tell you, you are, for example, a driver personality, and I ask you after about your culture, your environmental factors. What is your religion? What is your how are you? How was your childhood, and so on. So I ask you about many things which make behavior changes or behavior tips and so on. So I collect all of this, and I do the same with your partner, and I ask him the same, and I do this as a homework, and I put the same together, and I check the suitability. How much is the suitability between you and your partner? Is it 20%? Is it 70%? Is it 80%? And so on. And based on that, I give you advice to continue or to leave. And if you are going to continue, I will tell you the positives and negatives, traits, and so on, and how you deal with him. How can you absorb his reactions? How can you tailor yourself, you and him, not only for a female. It's between two partners, not one.
It sounds like a great way to start out, knowing more about each other, how to resolve conflicts ahead of time, things like that. But have you ever had to tell anybody that, no, it won't work?
Yes, sure. It happened a lot.
Really? How do they take
Yeah.
it?
I have to prepare them first to tell them, because it's contraindicated for some personalities, for example, to marry. For example, if I have a driver woman and feeler men, for example, it's contraindicated to marry each other. It's very big disaster if they married each other. The woman is aggressive, sharp, very strong in reactions and actions also, and the man is very cute, very simple, very kind. So after a year or maybe less, they are going to leave each other, and unfortunately maybe they're having kids or pregnancy or something like that, and life is not going to continue in a healthy way between the man and the woman in that case. So I have to tell them clearly, no, sorry, I cannot tell you to continue, because 1, 2, 3. 1, in that situation you are going to fight. 2, you will repeat the fighting. 3, you will look red face. You will be shy in front of others because she is aggressive. She cannot control her words and so on. So I have to tell them in details, and I take the decision for them. Of course, they can do this. They can go and marry, even if I say no. But I have to tell them, because this is my work, to tell them everything.
Wow. Okay. But here's the question. So I think our understanding of Egypt is that men can have 4 wives.
Yes.
How does this whole dynamic work and play into the relationship?
This is a very, very, very common question, especially from non-Arabs. Do you really marry more than 1 wife, 2, 3, or 4? Actually, yes, it is an option, but who use it? Around, in my opinion, 95%, 97% of Egyptian men are married only to 1 wife.
To one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the other 2 or 3 or 4% can marry 2 or 3, but 2, not 3. Very, very, very few people marry to 3. So the option is here, is available, but it's not used. Not because we don't like to use, but because we don't need to use. We respect women, we consider a lot of things. And also to marry 2 or 3 is logically another scenario, another situation we can talk about if you want, but not famous, not common to marry more than one.
Okay. That clears up misconceptions.
Not misconception, but when we have the right, we can use in emergency cases. It's a right. We can consider it a door of mercy. We can knock the door of mercy when is it needed, and when is it needed has a lot of factors. For example, if a man is married to a sick woman and he has a lot of children, and he cannot continue normally with her, so what can he do? Divorce her and leave his kids and marry another woman? In this case, it's better to marry another woman in the presence of his first wife to take care of her and of her kids, and have his life with another woman and has also kids. It's legal here. So everything is done legally. Right. Everything is done with approval of government and God.
But it's not like Mormons where they're all in the same house. In Egypt or other Muslim countries, don't the women all have their own houses? The man has to be able to provide for them equally?
It's according to the financial situation, but the difference between Muslims and Mormons, we can marry one or two or three, maximum four. This is the maximum. We cannot marry more than that. And for a reason, not just I want to marry another one. It's not like that. They can live together or live in separate apartments or houses. It's according to the financial situation, the acceptance, because also women here in Egypt are sensitive to that topic. If a man is going to marry, no, don't marry. This is a very big mistake for me. And also women here are sensitive. They don't want to share their husband with others. Exactly. But yeah.
Well, I think it's the way we look at it is that, so what if women had the right to marry four husbands? How would you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
You know? So the majority don't, they only marry one.
Yes. And women cannot marry more than one because Islam is built on some basis. One of these bases is who is the parent who is the father and mother of this child. If a woman is married to more than one man, and who will be the father of her newborn, it's going to be a very big problem. So we cannot, who is going to tell that boy, father? He will not know which one of them or which one of those. Okay, so it's logically, it's not possible, because when a man marry one woman or two women or three, when any one of them have a child, so he knows his father and his mother.
Right.
But when a woman marries to more than one, we cannot know whose father is that of them.
Wow. So what is the reasoning for four wives in the Quran?
It's not reason. You know that the Quran is the only book who told marry only one. He told you can marry two or three or four. But if you are afraid to be fair, just marry one. No other book on earth said that. No other book, no other religion on earth limited the number of marriage except Quran or Islam. Even Mormons, I don't know what is the reason of that, or in other, but in Islam I know, because I'm a Muslim and I know in depth the reasons of many things in my religion. But it's controlled. You can marry two. You know, let's think in another way. On earth, number of women are very huge compared to number of men.
Okay.
And if every man married to a woman, there will be a lot of women without marriage. Let's talk also that not all of men are ready to marry. Maybe 70%, 60% are ready, but 40% are not ready. So it's a bigger problem. So more women will not be married. And let's continue also that some men have abnormal orientation. We call it abnormal orientation. Maybe in other communities it's normal, but in Egyptian and Arab countries, there are some other abnormal sexual orientation. So another number of men falls. So another number of women has no possibility to marry. So we can, if you calculate it, you will find that it's an option to make other more number of women marry when there is no possibility in other communities to marry. And she also has right, especially in our religion, our community, it's forbidden to have any other relation without marriage. Only marriage is the legal and religious way to have a relationship. So they will be forbidden totally from any other option.
What about divorce now in Egypt? Are women able to instigate divorce?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very high percentage here, maybe reach around 49%. It's very high.
Really? Wow.
It's because of many factors, especially open air, open sky time, which we are now. It's open sky. We can see a lot of things from outside Egypt, from inside Egypt. Things are changing from a lot of time. A long time in Egypt. So from 100 years, we cannot find this divorce more than 5%, 4%, because there was rules guiding this community. Now a woman comes, no, I'm not comfortable with that man. And men see, oh, I see this woman, she's more beautiful, but he doesn't care about his future. He doesn't do his homework. He doesn't do his best to care about that. There's a problem in communities, maybe not only Egyptian, other communities, Arabic and other nations.
I think that happens a lot. Well, I think people are wrapped up in the fairy tale of falling in love, and they don't realize that to sustain love, it's give and take. So what type of tips would be good for a couple just thinking about getting engaged and looking at the long term, getting over all those bumps in the road along the way? What's some practical things that they should look for in each other to know that they can make it over those hurdles?
Okay, first of all, they have to know more about personalities. Is he active? Is she active? Thinking with imagination or logic? Has a lot of reactions, think about many things at the same time or not? Are their imagination high? Are they aggressive? Do they care about the words they say? When we are calculating a lot of points, a lot of marks, for suitability, it's more convenient. For suitability, because if I'm analyzer, for example, and I'm thinking in a very slow way, and I'm married to a driver, which is thinking in a very, very quick way. So what will happen? There will happen a big gap in communication. She will not be satisfied. Also, the man will not be satisfied about his slow motion. Okay, so, and he's cold feeling, and if he's married to another woman who is not cold feeling, who is emotional, there's a big gap. She wants to hear some good words, and he don't think that's going to work. So they have to look in a long duration. They have to look to each other in depth. Not I like his face, his green eyes. Not I like her style. Not I like that. This is going to lose its taste after some days of marriage, of relation. But in a long term, what is inside is more important.
Absolutely. You have to see them every day.
Yeah,
For
I have
years.
to see them. Yeah.
So, what about having arguments? Is there a good way to have an argument in a relationship?
Yeah.
Is it okay to disagree?
Argument is normal. We can argue with anyone anytime, but how can we do that? It's important. How can we do that? So, for example, if they know each other, for example, if they came to me and know each other, and they have argument, they will say, yes, this is because you are an analyzer. You have to look for facts. You take a lot of time. This is you. And for me, I see the other face. So let us see together how can we solve it. They must understand each other to continue. It's very, very important to have argument, but it's very important to know how to control it, how to understand it. Argument is normal, but it's a stupidity to let argument control our bad behavior or our mental or emotional status.
Now, what about the community and the family that you're married into? Does that play a role? What if you don't like your future mother-in-law, or, you know, there's just somebody in the family that makes you crazy and there's just different agreements? What do they do in those situations? Is that a reason not to get married, or are there ways to make the other person understand that you don't want to be there a lot when that person is around?
What I understand, because some words fall in the way coming to me, what I understand now, if there is a problems in mother-in-law between a person and his mother-in-law, or right?
Right.
That's mentioned, right? Okay, first of all, they have to be more clear with each other. If any relation have occurred without clear factors, it will be very bad, because if I hide something, it will explode in her face in the future. So I have to tell my partner that there is a barrier, which is her mother, for example, and let us suit that. Let us hide things which she's going to consider bad between us, but it's okay. Let's hide some emotions, because she loves you. You are my wife, and she's going to consider that I took you from her. We have to respect that. We have to care about that. This is human nature. So let's talk about that clearly. Let me tell her, and she tell me about these factors or these points in a very clear way, because it's good to control this before it happens, before problems occur.
Wow. So what about factors that contribute to choosing a life partner? What should you know about yourself and the person you should choose for a partner?
You know, before I work this, I didn't know who is me, who I am. I didn't know that. And most of people doesn't know who are they. We just live, we just react, but we don't know what is this coming from. So we have first to know who are we, who is every one of us. Exactly. First, I have to know who is my partner. I have to study him. You know, when a man is going to marry a woman, for example, and the woman is here waiting for him to visit her in a family situation, she prepares a lot of things. A lot of time takes for just one day, maybe 3 hours or 4 hours, preparing a lot. But you know, people do not prepare for their 40 coming years, 40 years. You prepare for 3 hours a lot, and they didn't ever take a look, a deep look about how can we live for 40 years happy, cooperating. So I have to know who is my partner in depth. How can I make her happy? What is the small points which makes her smile, satisfied? What she wants in me and I don't have, and what she wants in me and I have. I have to understand this, because also my children will have this atmosphere. I have to do my homework also with my kids. I have to do the same and study them when they grow up, to let them know they like the blue color. So I give some toys in blue color, and I tell them frankly, I know you like the blue color, and I love this, and I love you, and so on. So we have to support each other in knowledge. We cannot hide anything from each other. It's one of the tips. Hiding between couples is very dangerous thing, because if you hide something and I discovered, the problem is very big. So let's be clear always, honest always, and this is not easy, by the way. We can say it in a TV show, but it's not easy at all. It's very hard. So we have to train ourselves for that, to understand each other, to accept. Accept is very important point. Accept each other, and it's not easy also, because as a human nature, there's a lot of conflicts will happen because of not accepting my life partner. I can stop her anytime and say, I don't like that in you, I don't accept that. So why did you marry her if you are going to say that? Why didn't you make your homework before marrying her and you know that it's her nature? Most of relations fall because of superficial judgment, superficial dealing with each other.
Good point. And I think a lot of people look at, talking to a psychologist or a human development consultant about their relationships as having, there's this whole stigma with having a mental problem or, but I think that the way that you presented how these couples should talk to each other, talking to a consultant, maybe the first one isn't, a good fit. But I think finding somebody that they can have a conversation with and talk about the things that are going on would be great, because sometimes you can't always talk to your family about, this major decision you're going to make, or you're blinded by,
a lot of factors, yeah.
Right.
And do you know that when you buy a used car and you don't have a catalog of that used car, what happens? You misuse it. You use it in the wrong way, and many things happen wrong. Our mission is to give you the instructions and the advices how to use your car. In our level, how to use yourself, how to put yourself in the best situation which is suitable to you, how to choose your life and your career, how to choose your work. For example, many people, around 79% of people go to work every day unhappy because they are not suitable to their work. 79% is not few, very few, it's very high.
It is very high.
Yeah, so if you choose your right work, you will go every day happy. You will not find a lot of difficulties. It's according to who you are and who gave you that advice. Is he professional enough? Is he just in the beginner, or what? So you have to ask. Not you, anyone have to ask for help, for guiding. And this is very critical, very important. Not everyone can find a man or woman who is considered trustable to ask. And I'm happy to be one of those who changed the lives of a lot of people, and big decisions made after sitting with me for a while. It's not a big thing I do, but this is my job to change other lives.
That's great. It's the art of communication.
Yeah. Not only communication, to accept. Yeah, not only communicate. It's a matter of communication, but communication is the little part over the ice mountain under the water. It's a small part, which is seen to each other, to everyone. But there's a lot of work in the mountain, the ice mountain under the water. We work down and results appear up.
That's a good point. So before we close today, what was your favorite book growing up?
What is my favorite what?
Book.
Book. I think like you, traveling. I like books about traveling.
What's it about?
About traveling? I understand others. When I was in Dubai, for example, I was working with a lot of nationalities. It makes me huge experience, gave me huge experience. When I work with 100 nationality, before it, I didn't understand that there are people on earth thinking like that differently. They are people behaving like that, which there are things I didn't expect it happens, and I saw it with my eyes. So I had more experience about others. It made me also behave differently with with people from other nationalities. For example, when I meet an Indian, it's totally different. Also, to understand his pronounced English when we say, because for me, English is not my mother tongue. It's my second language. So I'm not fluently in English like you. It's your native tongue. So to understand others' language and to understand other behaviors and cultures, it was very important. And religion, but also not also cultures.
Well, thank you. Shukran.
Shukran. Thank you for it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, keep asking questions. There's so many different things you really need to know about your life partner, and you should do that all before the big day. Take care.